AEW is poised to become WWE's biggest rival since WCW. Just like both promotions have beef with each other, wrestlers on both sides also have issues with one another, so let's check out 10 WWE and AEW stars that don't like each other in real life. If you think about it, there are quite a few similarities between Triple H and Cody Rhodes. Besides being great workers in the ring and putting on some truly fantastic matches, both have had a drive that has made them want to climb up the ladder and change the landscape of pro wrestling. While Triple H is being made to wait and will probably continue waiting until he is like 70 to assume full control of WWE, Cody Rhodes has forged his own path by becoming one of the most sought after independent wrestlers in the world before assuming the position of Executive VP of AEW. Now there really isn't much out there to suggest that these two men don't like each other, but their respective positions at the forefront of two rival wrestling promotions automatically means that they will be butting heads for years to come. While Trips has lost a step or two and become a part-timer, the American Nightmare is arguably in the prime of his career. AEW's Double or Nothing event was a huge moment for the company, as it had the potential to make or break the young promotion, so naturally AEW pulled out all the stops. One of the marquee matches on the card saw the Rhodes brothers go face to face, finally giving us the match we should have gotten years ago. As part of his entrance, Cody destroyed a throne using a sledgehammer. The act was a direct jab at Triple H, and it doesn't need an explanation. Triple H hasn't directly commented on the incident, but he could not have taken kindly to being called out by the upstart promotion. Chris Jericho is one of the greatest of all time, and he has managed to get over more gimmicks by himself than a dozen wrestlers on the top of their game could. Not only is he amazing in the ring, but he is also one of the best on the mic, somehow excelling as both a face and a heel. Goldberg is, well, he's Goldberg. He made a career out of hitting people with two moves and barely ever losing. Both have gone down very different paths. While Goldberg has been inducted into the Hall of Fame and is a former Universal Champion, the Ayatollah of Rock and Roll has shocked the wrestling community when he seemingly left WWE behind and showed up to challenge Omega to a match. Jericho's relationship with WWE is pretty much non-existent now, but his beef with Goldberg goes back to their days in WCW. According to Jericho, he pushed hard for a match with Goldberg when he first embarked on his insane unbeaten streak. He even went to the lengths of recording a ton of promos to hype the match, but Goldberg would refuse, believing that Y2J was just too small to have a match with him. Just like that, all of Jericho's work went down the drain. After a while, Jericho would join WWE, but it was only a matter of time before Goldberg joined too. According to rumors, the two got into a scuffle backstage when someone told Jericho that Goldberg had been bad-mouthing him during his match. Jericho never wanted to back down, confronted Goldberg, and then the two got into a skirmish with Jericho coming out on top. A long time has passed since then, and both men haven't really gotten in each other's face for over a decade, but there is bound to be some amount of resentment there. So we don't think anyone is really sure why this happened. AEW has been hyping up its Double or Nothing event for months, so naturally Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks appeared at Starrcade to build more excitement for the event. During the panel discussion, Rhodes spoke about Kylie Ray, a member of AEW's women's division, and threw shade at Bayley that did not go unnoticed by the people in attendance or by the internet wrestling community. In regards to Ray, Cody said she's not like wacky inflatable tube men pretending to be nice. Inflatable tube men is a direct call out to Bayley, who has them as a part of her entrance in WWE. Rhodes tried to get the audience to move on from the comment, but it was clear as day that he had just thrown out some major shade at Bayley. Rhodes went to Twitter to state that his comment was meant to be entirely harmless and that he thinks Bayley is awesome. Chris Jericho has gotten into altercations with both Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. He might actually be a madman. Lesnar has not endeared himself to a large chunk of fans and his colleagues by virtue of the fact that he barely works any dates and practically left the Universal title on his nightstand for a year and a half. Issues between the two men first arose after the main event of SummerSlam in 2016. Soon after, Lesnar left Orton lying in a pool of his own blood in the middle of a ring. Apparently Jericho didn't know what the finish of the match was supposed to be, so he confronted Lesnar backstage and both men got in each other's faces and were reportedly yelling, but luckily backed off before coming to blows. Jericho stirred the pot once more earlier this year when he went to Twitter and called out WWE and Brock Lesnar. He essentially called Lesnar fat and said that he needed to lose weight. Now just go find yourself a current picture of Chris Jericho and let the thought of that sink in. Jinder Mahal's push to the top of SmackDown came out of nowhere, and even if he has gone right back to being a jobber, WWE should be commended for at least taking a chance and going with an unproven commodity as one of the company's top champions. The company tried hard to present Mahal as a legitimate main event threat, but whether it actually worked is up for debate. Mahal's slow, methodical in-ring style did him no favors, and it wasn't long before his reign as WWE champion just became a total drag on the blue brand. The wrestling community as a whole was quite shocked with Mahal's sudden change of fortunes, with Cody Rhodes commenting on the situation. On a podcast appearance, Rhodes jokingly stated that he probably should have stuck around in WWE because he might have ended up being the one facing Orton for the title. This was a clear shot at the former WWE champion, but Jinder never responded. It's a good thing Rhodes didn't stick around to find out if he could win the WWE title. Who knows how long the company would have wasted his talent on dumb gimmicks like Stardust. Kofi Kingston's unlikely ascent to the top of WWE after 11 years of faithful service in the mid-card is one of the most feel-good stories to come out of WWE in a while. Much like Kingston, Trent Beretta was an athletic, high-flying superstar who often wowed the WWE universe with his moveset. Beretta ended up leaving WWE in early 2013 without ever having won a title in the promotion. A lot of superstars are usually quite upset after losing a job, and Beretta was no different. The AEW star laid into Kofi Kingston and publicly cussed him out on Twitter. Kingston responded saying that he had no interest in shaking hands with Beretta, and the latter echoed the same sentiment. This was no social media beef. The comments made by both men pretty much confirm a strong dislike for one another, and now the fact that both men are in rival promotions is almost poetic. Xavier Woods and Cody Rhodes' dislike for one another goes way back before either man was a pro wrestler. Woods opened up about his relationship with Rhodes on Talk is Jericho and said that both men actually attended rival high schools. Woods decided to become a pro wrestler and actually ended up wrestling Rhodes in an amateur wrestling match. Xavier was hoping to impress Cody's father Dusty, but unfortunately that isn't what happened, and Rhodes won the match 2-1. To make matters even worse, Rhodes also embarrassed Woods in front of a girl he had feelings for. That's rough. The two men seem to have put their differences aside as they have matured, and Rhodes even appeared on Woods' YouTube channel as Stardust. Regardless, high school rivalries are difficult to live down, so it's unlikely the two will ever be the best of friends. Survivor Series last year was a watershed moment for women's wrestling in WWE. In the build-up to the pay-per-view, Nia Jax ended up breaking Becky's face, which took her out of her match with Ronda Rousey, but inadvertently also turned her into the hottest star in the company. Her replacement, Charlotte, had a great match with Rousey at the event, which was followed by one of the most brutal beatdowns. The match caught the attention of Chris Jericho, who complimented WWE for making women's wrestling the hottest thing in the promotion. Becky responded by taking credit for the rising popularity of women's wrestling, and when Jericho mentioned Lynch's broken face in response, all bets were off. Both superstars traded jabs, with Lynch even poking fun at Jericho's band Fozzy. Lynch had spent the last few weeks obliterating Ronda Rousey on Twitter, so it came as no surprise when she decided to take Jericho on as well. There's obviously no love lost between these two. The match between Lesnar and Moxley, when he was still known as Ambrose, had so much potential. The no-holds-barred match could easily have been the match of the night, but turned out to be an absolute dud. According to Moxley, he came up with a ton of innovative spots for both men to do, but Lesnar shot everything down, as Lesnar was much more interested in training for his MMA return. The match ended up being one of the worst of the night, and Lesnar's detractors got more fuel for their fire. There is no outward animosity between these two anymore, but they don't share the best relationship either. According to rumors, problems between these two arose when Jericho injured Chyna in the ring, and things have never really been the same since. Now that Jericho is one of the faces of AEW and Trips will one day be in charge of WWE, these two men will be at loggerheads once more, and while there is a mutual respect, that's pretty much it. And these were 10 AEW and WWE stars that don't like each other in real life. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later in the next video.